Okay. So can you maybe just let him know to mute when,
You're not gonna hear him. I just
when
switched
he-
it to me right now.
okay.
I'll text him.
yeah, just. Okay, so we will call the meeting to order. It's about 2 minutes after 7. Welcome everyone, members of the gallery, and for those who are watching online as well. We're going to begin this evening with O Canada, so I'll ask everyone to please stand. All right, so just want to make a little note on this evening's proceedings before we get started. We've got, this is really our first kind of hybrid meeting where we have one councillor joining us from home, Councillor Brent Sampson, and some of us here in person. And just want to let folks know that if we experience any technical difficulties with that, please be patient. We're testing it out. So. All right, so we'll begin then, I guess, with a roll call of councillors. So over to you, Yvonne.
Richmond County Municipal Council, regular meeting, Monday, April 25th, 7 p.m. Councillor Sean Sampson.
Present.
Councillor Michael Digdon. Deputy Warden Melanie Sampson.
Present.
Warden Amanda Mumbercat.
Present.
Councillor Brent Sampson. Brent?
Yes, I'm present.
Okay, great,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks.
And there's the first little glitch that we promised you, so we're going to do our best through here. And I should mention as well that CAO Marchand had also been, as a result of the pandemic, everyone is trying to be safe. And if they're, in contact with someone who's ill or feeling any symptoms, encouraged not to come in. So he sent his regrets earlier this evening as well. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is items added to the agenda, and we do have an item added regarding, it's an amendment, it's a motion to amend the minutes from January 24th. So councillors will add that to the agenda under items approved. And because we haven't provided advance notice of that, then we would be looking for a 2/3 vote on that when the time comes. But for now, it'll sit down on the items approved area of the agenda, or items added and area of the agenda. Are there any other items to add?
I'd like to add community acknowledgement.
Okay. Community acknowledgement. Okay. Any other items? Okay. So could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Could I have a seconder on that, please?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Is there any further discussion on the agenda? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. All right, the next item is the review of minutes from the March 28th Special Council meeting. Were there any changes or errors noted in those minutes when council reviewed? Okay, I'm not hearing any, so I'll ask for a motion to approve those minutes from March 28th, please.
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Sean Sampson. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Warden. So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Next item is the March 21st minutes. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes from March 21st if there are no errors noted?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Could I have a seconder, please?
Second.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. So we're going to come into a question period now, which is restricted to items on the Committee of the Whole report. I did want to just check in with you, Councillor Sampson, before we head into question period, Councillor Brent Sampson, to see how is the sound coming through. Are you able to hear us okay?
Brent?
Yes.
Okay, so I think there
Yes.
might, yeah. So I'm just checking in on the sound, Brent, to make sure that you can hear us okay.
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah.
Is it only me you're hearing right now?
Yeah.
Okay, do you wanna call in on the phone number?
I think so.
Okay.
902-226-9885.
But if he's on the call, how can people call in for question
Yep,
period?
so we have a different phone number for question period,
you're
so, again, a little technical glitch, but if, folks would like to call in with a question for question period, you can dial in at 902-631-5929.
Brent?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll begin our question period now. It'll be maximum of 10 minutes, and it will be limited to items on the committee report, the Committee of the Whole report. So again, that phone number is 902-631-5929. And the Committee of the Whole report includes fuel price adjustments, cost-shared paving, tax sale minimum bids, Migma Summer Games, Accessibility Advisory Committee appointment, Universal Healthy School Food Program, non-residential provincial property and deed transfer tax. So we'll just give it a minute for any questions to come in. And Councillor, I'm just going to do a sound check with you again. Councillor Brent, are you able to hear me okay now?
I can now. Yeah, I didn't hear anything from
Okay.
the roll call until now.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you. We just had a little bit of feedback on your end too.
Try it again.
Can I ask you to just say a test for us, Brent?
Test?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Much better. Okay. All right, so I'm not hearing any questions coming in. No questions from the gallery either on the Committee of the Whole report. Okay, so we'll move on then. And next item on the agenda are committee reports. So the first one is the Committee of the Whole report. So over to you, Deputy Warden.
Thank you. So the committee met on April 2020. What was the date of our Committee of the Whole
11th.
meeting? April 11th, thank you. So the committee met on April 11th, 2020. The committee discussed fuel price adjustments. I move that Council accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole and that the municipality adjust the rates for hauling municipal solid waste and recyclables in accordance with the Truckers Association of Nova Scotia monthly diesel fuel price as posted on the Nova Scotia government website.
So we have a motion on the floor. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll make that motion. I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion on that item? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried.
The committee discussed cost-shared paving. I move that Council accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole and that the municipality forward correspondence to Nova Scotia Public Works with a copy to Jamie Chisholm, District Director, Public Works Eastern, Paul Colton, Construction Manager, Public Works Eastern, and Laura Cunningham, Capital Program Administration Office, Public Works Head Office, notifying them of the municipality's acceptance of the list and cost estimate for the cost-shared program for the paving of Langley Lane from Pulp Mill Road to end for a distance of 0.36 kilometers.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Could I have a seconder on that?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried.
The committee discussed tax sale minimum bids. I move that council accept the recommendation of the committee of the whole and that the minimum acceptable bid be as follows on the listed properties which did not sell at previous tax sales and will be listed for the June 2022 tax sale. District 1, property number 014-15298, PID 750-11015, assessed to Mary Gale Rood, land at 3661 Highway 206, Petty de Gras, minimum bid $10,000. District number 2, property number 032-22241, PID 751-00677, assessed to Household Realty Corporation Limited, land Cove Road, West Ayrshire, minimum bid $2,000. District number 1, property number 096-30309, PID 750-03947, assessed to Gordon Edwin Jr. Short and Shelley Esther Stewart, land Highland Street, Ayrshire, minimum bid, principal only. And district number 5, property number 090-55363, PID 751-19214, assessed to Gary and Kathleen Pretty, land in St. Peter's Forshoe Road, Framboise, minimum bid, principal only.
Okay. All right, thank you, Deputy Warden. That was a mouthful.
It sure was.
Could
A lot
I
of
have-
numbers.
Could I have a seconder on that motion, please?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried.
The committee discussed the Migma Summer Games sponsorship. I move that council accept the recommendation of the committee of the whole and that a $10,000 PLAMU sponsorship, be added to the draft budget for the Nova Scotia Migma Summer Games being hosted by Budlatek First Nation from July 17th to July 14th, 2022.
Okay. Could I have a seconder on that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried.
The committee discussed an appointment to the Accessibility Advisory Committee. I move that council accept the recommendation of the committee of the whole and that Esther McDonnell be appointed to the Accessibility Advisory Committee.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Could I have a seconder on that, please?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay, those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Thank you.
The committee discussed a universal healthy school food program. I move that council accept the recommendation of the committee of the whole and that the municipality of Richmond County sign on as an endorser of the National Coalition for Healthy School Food and that correspondence be forwarded to Coalition for Healthy School Food at Food Secure Canada indicating that the municipality of Richmond County endorses the coalition's call for the development of a universal cost-shared healthy school food program.
Okay. Could I have a seconder on that motion for the Healthy School Food Program? Councillor Sean Sampson, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried.
The committee discussed proposed non-resident provincial property tax and non-resident deed transfer tax changes. It says charges, but I think it's changes.
Yes.
I move that council accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole and that a letter be written by Warden Mumbercat to the Honorable Tim Houston with a copy to the Minister of Finance, Alan McMaster, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, John Lohr, MLA Trevor Boudreau, and the President of the NSFM, Amanda McDougall, regarding the proposed non-resident provincial property tax and the proposed non-resident deed transfer tax announced as part of the province's 2022-23 budget, indicating the municipality of Richmond County's opposition to this initiative.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion on that item? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried.
This concludes the Committee of the Whole report for the month of April 2022, and I move its adoption.
Okay, could I have a seconder on the Committee of the Whole report, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Sean Sampson has seconded the motion. Any further discussion on the Committee of the Whole report? Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the motion to adopt the non-union salary administration policy. Would councillors, over to you, like to make that motion, please?
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the non-union salary administration policy as adopted by the Municipal Council of Richmond County at a public meeting held on April 25th of 2022.
Okay. So could I have a seconder on that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Any further discussion on the non-union salary administration policy? Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. All right, the next item is the motion to amend the flag policy to add a review section.
I move to adopt the flag policy as adopted by the Municipal Council of Richmond County at a public meeting held on April 25th of 2022.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Sean Sampson, I guess, and that would be a motion to amend the flag policy,
Sorry.
not to adopt, but
Yep.
is that, yeah, okay, with that correction then. So could I have a seconder on that?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. All right, the next item is the motion to adopt the virtual meeting policy.
So I move to adopt the virtual meetings policy as adopted by the Municipal Council of Richmond County at a public meeting held on April 25th of 2022.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Sampson. Could I have a seconder, please?
Why not? I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Warden. Any further discussion on the virtual meeting policy? Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, that motion is carried. Okay, so that's taken us through a large part of our agenda in jig time. Thank you, councillors. I do have a next item on the agenda regarding the Strait Area Chamber of Commerce Award nominations, and just wanted to bring these to the attention of folks watching, also to councillors, that the nomination deadline for awards is April 29th, which is this coming Friday. The three of the awards I know have gone in the past to really worthy businesses here in Richmond County. Would love to see some nominations going in, so I'm really encouraging people to do that. Their AGM dinner and awards gala is on May 25th at the Civic Center, but you have just until the end of this week to do nominations. Right now they're accepting nominations for the Jack Hartery Lifetime Achievement in Business Award. And I know there's been some fantastic business owners from Richmond County who have received that in the past. They're accepting nominations for a Heart of the Community Award, so someone who's made an outstanding contribution to the growth of their communities, as well as a cultural award of merit. And that's an interesting award because it's presented each year to recognize a business who has really enhanced awareness within the community of culture, visual, performing, or literary arts. So it's a really nice tie into our arts community. So just wanted to encourage folks to consider nominating a business in your area. Yeah, I know that Richmond County businesses have lots to offer, so it'd be great to see some recognized at this awards gala coming up. So any questions from councillors on that? Okay, so hearing none, we'll move right along. So we are into correspondence. We have a couple of items where action is required. And so the first for your consideration is a piece of correspondence from Fowler, Bald and Mitchell Limited, FBM, as we know them affectionately by, who are leading the work on our strategic planning process. They have provided us with a quote for additional services, which would include so currently we have 2 in-person meetings planned as part of the strategic planning process, one in, I think, the Alma Dam area and one in the St. Peters area. And conversation had come up that maybe it'd be nice to add a 3rd one, potentially in the Louisdale, West Bay area. And so they've provided a quote on that. They have also provided a quote on additional 1-hour focus group meetings and provided a quote on document graphic design enhancements. So these would be outside of the scope of the current contract that we have with them. Altogether, those three extra pieces of service would be, I think, an extra $3,815 plus HST. So really, this is just for councillors to discuss this evening as to whether or not you'd be interested in adding some of those additional items to our strategic planning process that were outside of the scope of the original agreement. So any thoughts from councillors on that?
Well, for me, I when it came to the last strategic plan, public consultation was important for me, and for me to see a 3rd in-person meeting in the Louisdale, West Bay area, I think is important. So, yeah, in our 1-hour focus group meeting, so I'd be in favor of that, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Warden, I'm assuming that the item 1 and item 2 would be time sensitive. Item 3, where it's the graphic design enhancements, that would come as the strategic plan is like the final version.
Right.
So, for me, I'd like to sort of put a pause on item 3. I'm not saying yes or no. I just think, let's see where we land on our budget, because all of this would affect our current year's budget. Definitely I was one of the people who was asking about the, item number 1, which was the in-person meeting in my district. When the Plan Richmond sessions were held, there was a lot of interest there. I wasn't in attendance because I had a sick family member, but I know there was a lot of people in attendance, and I think there is a great interest in the district for people to have, to be able to put their input. So I would definitely support item 1, particular because it's in the district, but as Councillor Sampson has said, another hour focus group meeting I think would be very helpful. It's a very important document that we're trying to revise, and so I think the more we can do, the better. And the pricing is not outrageous for
Yeah.
so.
It is, it's it seems to me to be reasonable in the scheme of the work that they've been doing for us currently. Councillor Brent Sampson, I wanted to ask your opinion on the additional items quoted by FBM. Would you be in favor of adding those to the scope of the work that we have them doing for us?
I was trying to, I don't think so, but I do agree. I don't think the costs are unreasonable. I think when we started into this, we were kind of trying to stay on a bit of a leaner path with it, as it was just a bit of an update. I can appreciate, though, especially St. George's Channel was apparently the best attended of some of the community consultations so far. But I don't know that I'd want to spend that much extra on it, where I'm not certain it'll change the outcome.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Councillor. So, you know, and I guess I would support the addition of the third session. Like originally when I looked at this, I was thinking, you know, I would probably support all of it. However, I really like your idea of maybe putting the brakes on that last piece, Deputy Warden, to just see how it kind of plays out and what we might need. So we can make that decision maybe even during our current budgeting process in May, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my first instinct was all of it, yes,
Yes.
right, as well, but I think if we don't need to decide right now, then let's just
Great.
put a pause on that until we see where we land with everything else.
Okay, so would anyone like to make a motion then to either proceed, or we can let this rest, whichever?
I'm prepared to make a motion to,
Okay.
to engage FBM with item number 1 and number 2 in their proposal.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
all right, so the motion has been made by Deputy Warden to proceed with adding items 1 and 2 with FBM to our strategic planning process, and it's been seconded by Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion on those items? Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
No?
Okay, so that motion is carried with 1 no vote recorded from Councillor Sampson, Brent Sampson. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is a PCAP application. So this is a briefing note provided to us by our Director of Public Works, who has he's basically seeking authorization to proceed with the application for the province's PCAP funding program for the purpose of conducting an inflow and infiltration study on the Arishat sewage collection system. He notes, you know, the current situation. I believe that a similar study was conducted with the Petit de Gras system as well. The cost of the study is estimated at $75,000, of which 50% may be available through PCAP funding if the application is approved. So I know he's noted that they've included $40,000 in the draft budget. You know, although the actual timing of the expenditures, you know, may require to be kind of in the next fiscal year, but they have allocated a certain amount in the draft budget for this year, which we'll be getting into this in the next week or two. So the recommendation from staff is to proceed with the application, and they would like a motion to that effect. Councillors have any thoughts they want to share, or a motion that they would like to make regarding that correspondence?
Yep, no, I mean, this is work that has to be done, you know, to this aging infrastructure, so I'd be willing to put the motion forward to proceed with that application.
Okay. So, all right, so Councillor, you're making the motion
I'm
to
making a
proceed?
motion to proceed with that
Okay,
application, please. Yep.
okay, thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Could I have a seconder, please, on that item?
I will second that.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Is there any further discussion on the PCAP application? Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. The next item on our agenda is the Almadam Garden Club regarding the Year of the Garden 2022 Proclamation. And I know we have members of the gallery from that group here, so thank you for joining us. So we did receive a letter regarding from the Garden Club with several requests. Number 1, that we use the color red in all of our gardens and landscapes that the municipality maintains and supports this year. Number 2, that we would support the nomination of the Almadam Garden Club Garden Hero, Lillian O'Hearn, a resident of Rocky Bay, with an honorary certificate for her contribution to gardening. And 3, that the municipality purchase a pole flag for the Year of the Garden 2022 in celebration of the Canada-wide event. And that Council recognize Saturday, June 18th as Garden Day in the municipality of Richmond County, which is a legacy of Canada's Year of the Garden 2022. So I have a draft proclamation that's been shared as well, which we could use to recognize certainly the June 18th date. But before we get to that, I would like to just check in with councillors on your support for the first three items that I mentioned, which is using the color red in the gardens, providing a certificate for Lillian O'Hearn as our garden hero, and that we purchase a pole flag for the Year of the Garden 2022 in celebration of the event. So I guess I would be looking for a motion of council to support doing all three of those activities or some amended form, and would open it for comments at this time, so.
I would be comfortable making a motion to accept the first three. The only concern I think I would have, and that I may like to just amend the motion a bit, would be that wherever possible, we use the color red. I'm just concerned that perhaps our Department of Public Works has already made arrangements with some garden centers and
Right.
already sort of pre-ordered some of the things that we're putting in gardens and landscaping. So, I mean, I think we can encourage them to use the color red, but I don't know that we can say we will use
Right.
it.
Okay,
Other than that, all of it looks great to me.
okay. So the motion would be to encourage staff to use the color red in
red.
gardens where possible.
Yep.
To support the nomination of Lillian O'Hearn as the Almadam Garden Club Garden Hero with a certificate, and to purchase a pole flag for the Year of the Garden 2022.
Yep.
Okay, could I have a seconder on that motion?
I'll
Thank
second
you,
that motion.
Councillor Sean Sampson. Is there any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. So, further to the correspondence provided was the draft proclamation, and I'm just gonna read it out so that our viewers can hear it, and then I have a nice copy here to sign to provide to the Garden Club members who are in attendance this evening. So, proclamation for Year of the Garden 2022. Whereas the Year of the Garden 2022 celebrates the centennial of Canada's horticultural sector, and whereas gardens and gardening contribute to the quality of life of our municipality and create safe and healthy places where people can come together, and whereas the Year of the Garden 2022 will highlight and celebrate the important contribution of our gardeners, our local gardening organizations, horticultural professionals, and local horticultural businesses which contribute to garden culture and the experience garden of our municipality. And whereas gardens and gardening have helped us face the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, and whereas Communities in Bloom, in collaboration with the Canadian Garden Council, invites all municipalities to celebrate the Year of the Garden, be it therefore resolved that I, Warden Amanda Mumbercat, on behalf of the municipality of Richmond County, do hereby proclaim 2022 as the Year of the Garden in celebration of the contributions of gardens and gardening to the development of our country, our municipality, and the lives of citizens in terms of health, quality of life, and environmental challenges. And that the Saturday before Father's Day, June 18th in 2022, be recognized as Garden Day in the municipality of Richmond County. And that the municipality of Richmond County is committed to be a garden-friendly municipality supporting the development of its garden culture. And that all municipalities across Canada be invited to proclaim 2022 to be the Year of the Garden in their respective municipalities, and that a copy of this resolution be provided to the FCM and for that purpose. So, could I have a motion to accept that proclamation, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Is there any further discussion? Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. And I will sign that certificate. Thank you.
Thank you,
You
guys.
challenged me with the number of times horticultural was written in there. It's a mouthful to say on the microphone, but we made it. Okay, so I'll sign that and we'll get it off to the garden club before the end of the evening here this evening, so. All right, so the next item on our agenda is the Nova Scotia Lyme Support Group. We receive a request from the Lyme Support Group each year, I think. I remember doing this last year, asking to declare May as Lyme Disease Awareness Month. So again, I'm just going to read the proclamation. Here I go. So Lyme Disease Awareness Month, May 2022 proclamation. Whereas Lyme disease is a serious illness caused by the bite of a black-legged tick infected with the bacterium Borrelia burgdorferi, And whereas black-legged ticks carrying a variety of diseases or illnesses can now be found in all parts of Nova Scotia. And whereas awareness, education, and practicing preventative measures such as daily tick checks and proper tick removal can help reduce your chances of contracting tick-borne diseases. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Warden Amanda Mumbercat, on behalf of the Municipality of Richmond, do hereby proclaim May 2022 as Lyme Disease Awareness Month. So could I have a motion to accept that proclamation, please?
I'll move to accept the proclamation.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Could I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is Code of Conduct under Correspondence. So there was a report of a potential breach to the Code of Conduct. So this item on the agenda really is to just update council on the communications that have occurred regarding this, regarding the reported incident. The incident occurred a little over a year ago. We have begun the process of looking into the matter, as you know, and have received some legal advice as well in terms of how to proceed. So at this point, I guess I would leave it there by way of an update. We do have information that's been collected as well from, from the person who reported the breach, and also the counselor is Councillor Digdon, who has provided his information as well. And so we've just received that, so I think we'll take some time to review it and come to a decision. So,
So are we gonna have this investigation in an open setting or an open discussion, or?
well, I think any decision of council would have to come back to a public meeting, I would say.
Yeah, I just have a few concerns with this situation, right? So, and again, that's for us to discuss, I guess, but when it comes to an investigation, the resident in question on April 11th asked us if council learns tonight, right now, that the same counselor in question reaches out to a resident and discusses this breach. He also goes on to say in the media, I sent screenshots of the conversation to 4 counselors. For me, the definition of a conversation is this: a talk, especially an informal one, between 2 or more people in which news and ideas are exchanged. I don't recall getting screenshots of a conversation. We got a screenshot of a reply that involved a deeper conversation. We got a screenshot of an elaboration, a continuation of a conversation. That to me is concerning that we didn't. Now, when I walked in here, we had this on our table, right? So is this the entire conversation?
That is what I've received from Councillor Digdon.
Right.
Yeah.
So, seems to me that the counselor did not reach out to the resident on March 4th. The resident reached out to the counselor.
Right.
Right, so, again, I don't wanna beat this right now, but
No, I think, yeah.
I think we gotta be careful here. I think
Yeah.
we gotta be very careful. I'm not a solicitor by any means. But any kind of solicitor that's gonna take on any kind of case that's gonna end up in a courtroom is probably gonna ask his client to make sure that he gives him all the info he needs and to not hold anything back. We're finding out tonight that there's more to this story. And again, I'm not a lawyer, and we're not in the courtroom. But I think we should all be thankful we're not in the courtroom. And I think we gotta be careful what we do here in case we end up in a courtroom.
Yeah, and
Right.
I think we want to take some time to carefully, to carefully review the information. I recognize it was just provided this evening, and so it didn't really land that item on the agenda in the hopes of a decision this evening. I think it's something we just need to look at a little carefully, and probably, to your point, Counselor Sampson, get some legal advice too.
Yeah, no,
terms
no,
of next
and for me, the concerning thing is the first sentence out of this response is, it's discouraging to say the least. And his last response is, I hope it changes soon. So there's concern there from Councillor Digdon. I know we're focused on what he said in the middle of it, about embarrassing our CEO when it comes to standing up for the flag, and, him taking it to Talal and in a public meeting, but we all know that that never happened. It was taken into an in-camera session, right? So that was never discussed publicly, right? So I see two people having a heated conversation, sharing some text, with displeasures of a certain topic. And, then Councillor Digdon going back on what he said about bringing it public and just bringing it into an in-camera session. So for me, I don't know if I see any kind of breach here, but I mean, that's a conversation we will have, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we need some reflection, I
Yeah.
think, and time to really take a close look at what's been provided. Yeah.
And I guess I would say, that, the first set of text message we saw, the first message we saw was not in isolation. So we have to be confident that there's not something that's even before what we received today, right? So for me, I would just want to be confident on both sides that we've got because to your point, Councillor Sampson, the complete exchange.
Right.
And the complete context. So I do think that that's quite important for us too, because,
Yeah.
I know some of the context only because I was in part of the parts,
Right,
you know what I
right,
mean? But
yes.
I do feel it's fair for both the complainant and the counselor in question to be able to provide all of the context to all of the parts.
Yes.
Before we determine whether or not a breach has occurred or,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just concerned with, I've shared screenshots of the conversation.
fair.
That to me, in a courtroom, is not gonna fly, right? So I'm concerned with that. We never seen a conversation. I think we're seeing it tonight for the first time. But maybe there's more to it.
well,
yeah,
I
so
don't know, and then like,
Yeah.
in the court of public opinion.
I think we
You
just
know what
gotta
I
be,
mean? It's all a different story. So that's
Yeah.
why I feel it's really important that before we get too far into it in the court of public opinion,
Right.
that we gather all of the appropriate information to be sure that we're,
yeah,
considering all of the sides.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so any further comments or questions on that item?
Thank you.
Okay, no, of course.
Warden, perhaps I
Yeah.
should ask the question. So our next step, so we're going to have a look at the information that was provided to us.
Yeah.
We will, I'm guessing in the same courtesy that we've afforded to the counselor, we'd also afford that to the resident to say, we've been given more information, like, again, do you have something else to add to your you know what I mean? Like, I hate to say a little back and forth, but I think we need to
No, no,
provide
we-
everybody ample opportunity
Absolutely.
to always know what's being
Right.
said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then provide more clarity or context if it's appropriate, and then once we have all of the, once everybody feels like they've said their, or shared their parts,
Yes.
then I do think we need to bring it to public forum and have a conversation about it and determine what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is the resident in question comfortable with us sharing this stuff? I didn't,
Well, I'm not sure that.
there's other residents in question.
Yes,
Right.
right, so I think we
So-
need to get all of
Yeah.
the, I would agree with you,
Yeah.
Councillor Sampson, like, there's just more parts. So, I guess my question is, to be continued at the committee of the whole meeting?
I would anticipate, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
that would be.
Thank you.
That
Yeah.
would be ideal.
Yeah.
I think would be to wrap that up at next meeting. for
Yeah,
sure.
great, thank you.
Okay, so then the next item on our agenda is review of action items from March 21st, 2022. It is a lengthy list. We do have a couple letters still to write, but we did manage to get
We've got
through
some
quite a bit of
drafts.
it.
Yeah,
so,
we've got some of them, yeah.
So we're well on our way. Any questions on the action items? Okay, so hearing none, I'll move us on. So in terms of items added to the agenda, as you know, councillors, we had two items that were previously added via email. So I'll get to those before we jump into the ones that were added here just this evening. So the first one of those previously added items was the Richmond County Accessibility Plan approval. And so there's a full committee report, which I assume, Yvonne, we would put in with the minutes so that I wouldn't need to read the whole thing. Okay, yeah. Okay. But, you know, essentially to sum up the committee report is that the accessibility plan, or the Accessibility Committee has been working towards two key deliverables, which is the plan for Richmond County and also the plan for the Village of St. Peters, because it's a joint effort. And, you know, it speaks about the many different inputs that have shaped the plan, research, community engagement, committee discussions. I have to say as well as a series of site assessments, and I have to say that there was some really fantastic feedback from the public. And, you know, 147 community members engaged in the formulation of that plan, so it's just fantastic. At this point, we are seeking, I guess, as a municipal council, we have drafts. They were circulated in advance of both of the plans. I'd be seeking, I guess, approval from Richmond County Council for the draft accessibility plan that has been circulated. The majority of the members of the committee are supportive of both of the plans that have been developed. So, so I guess I'd open for questions, but before I do that, the accessibility report has been provided to you in advance, and I would actually have a motion to approve the report as presented. Could I have a motion?
Yes, can I ask
Yeah.
a question? I suppose
Yeah.
I'll make a motion and then in the discussion, I'll ask the question.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
will happily move the adoption of the accessibility plan.
Or the
R-
report.
report,
The
thank
for
you,
now.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Deputy
I'll
Warden?
second that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. So the motion to accept the Accessibility Advisory Committee report is on the table. Any further discussion on that?
Yes, so
Okay.
you just mentioned that the majority of the committee was in support of the report, and I guess I would just question what were some of the concerns, like if somebody was not in support of it, what
Yeah.
were some of the concerns? Because we're not directly in the process.
That's a great question. And so what I can tell you is that at our last meeting, we did not have a quorum. And so we couldn't make an official
Okay.
recommendation to move forward. There were some folks missing.
Okay,
But we have had the discussion through email, et cetera. I haven't really picked up any concerns
Okay.
from any committee members. They've been extremely involved in the writing of the report, so I think it kind of reflects
Good.
what those discussions were, yeah.
yeah, great.
Okay, and so what we'd be doing right now is, this is a motion to approve the
report.
Accessibility Committee report, and then I'll look for a motion to approve the plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion on the Accessibility Committee report? Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
All right,
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. And from there, I'll ask council for a motion to approve the draft accessibility plan for Richmond County as presented.
I'll make that motion. That was what plan was the first time the report came first, so yes, the plan, for sure.
Okay, thank you, Councillor, or Deputy Warden, thank you. Could I have a seconder on that?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion on the accessibility plan for Richmond County? Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carried. I feel like a great weight has been
Oh.
lifted off my shoulders. It was a wonderful piece of work.
It's
And
a
just
wonderful
thank
piece of
you
work.
to all of the committee members and all the members of the community who worked so hard on it. It's been a fantastic process and nice to see it brought to an end. I'll be looking forward to corresponding with the minister about that. Okay. Okay, so the next item that had been previously added was correspondence regarding the President's Leadership Dinner from CBU. So essentially, councillors, at this stage of the game, I would suggest that perhaps a deferral to budget would be how we want to proceed with this. They've got sponsorship levels outlined. The event will be taking place at the Halifax Convention Centre. And as you know, I think at our last meeting, we may have congratulated CBU on the work of their, on the Discovery Center and all of the wonderful investments that are taking place there. So, so councillors would you be supportive of deferring this to budget?
Yeah, I didn't see a deadline on it in terms of the date to, like, last date to purchase by, so.
I didn't see one, actually. That's a great question, but it's something I could ask Bill for sure.
Yeah, maybe if we could just check, like, if it'll be okay to defer it to budget. We may need to bring it back to the committee of the whole if there's a time sensitivity to it.
Yeah, okay. I can definitely do that.
Okay.
I'll ask him about that. All right. Thank you. Okay, so then the next item added was an item added at this evening's meeting. And so this would be to amend, a motion to amend a previously approved motion, which occurred at the January 24th meeting, with regards to our review of minutes. So could I ask councillors to review that? I think you have a hard copy. Yeah, okay. And if someone would be prepared to make that motion?
Yeah, I'm prepared to make it. So I am moving that the Council of Municipality of the County of Richmond amend a previously approved motion approved at the January 24th, 2022 council meeting, noting the review of minutes. And it should read as follows. Moved by Councillor Brent Sampson, second by Councillor Digdon, that minutes of the December 20th, 2021 regular council meeting be approved with amendments. Motion carried. And I'd like to correct it by correcting the vote on the review of the minutes of December 20th by replacing the words motion carried with 4 in favor, 1 opposed.
Okay, so as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, we did not provide advance notice of that motion to amend the previously approved motion, and so we would require a 2/3 vote, not a simple majority. So is there a seconder on that motion?
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Councillor Sean Sampson? Is there any further discussion? Okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. All right, so the next item on our agenda is community acknowledgements. So over to you, Councillor Sean Sampson, but I have one too, but you go first.
We might, I had 2, but maybe you got,
You go
you got the same one I got maybe, at the end of it, yeah. So I just wanted to congratulate Brandon Boudreau on his acknowledgement from our residents, our municipality, and our staff on becoming the Volunteer of the Month for the month of March 2022. For the past year and a half or so, Brandon has taken on numerous roles and worked very hard with numerous organizations and groups to make our community a better place. So just want to congratulate Brandon. And as a resident of District 1, I personally want to thank him for all his hard work the last couple of years. So
Great.
congratulations to Brandon.
Our volunteer of the
Job
month for
well done,
March. Yes, yeah. Okay, thank you. So you go ahead, you stole
Yeah,
my
no,
thunder.
I don't want to steal your thunder, so
No,
you go
that
ahead,
was
I'll
it.
go
That was
back.
it. It was the volunteer of the month, yeah. you're
Was
good.
it? Ah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So
please
for
go
me, I want to acknowledge the Volunteer of the Year,
ahead. Okay.
Grace DeWolf. She's a grade 11 student at Richmond Academy, works very hard academically in school, volunteers in school, and still finds time as a young teenager to volunteer outside of her school and in her community. So just want to congratulate Grace DeWolf as well on a job well done.
Great, thank you. All right, well, those are really timely because this is National Volunteer Week, so so it's a great time to be recognizing those volunteers in our community for sure. Are there any other community acknowledgements? Okay, so hearing none, we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which I think is our question period. So this is restricted to the remainder of the agenda following the Committee of the Whole report. And again, the phone number has shifted from what was originally published, so it is 902-631-5929. That's 902-631-5929. Or members of the gallery are welcome to jump in and ask a question, but I will remind folks that when you're asking your questions, to phrase it in the form of a question. so that we can provide you with an answer,
Just like Jeopardy.
just like Jeopardy.
Will we do as good as Matea? That's the
Yeah.
question.
I don't think that's
I'm not
possible.
going down that
frankly.
road, yeah.
Sure, did you want to come up? That's okay, Claire, those are not working. We'll just ask you to project your voice a little.
Yeah, so my question is this, a while back, you were, there was an application out for a part-time EMO officer,
Yep,
and I just wanted to find out the status of it, if you actually hired a person, or if it's still in progress.
so it's a little bit of both. So the position was advertised, but and I'm just trying to load up my email here on it. But as I recall, there wasn't a qualified candidate who applied for the position. It was advertised as a part-time position. And so our current emergency management coordinator, Cecil Frost, has agreed to stay in the role until, I believe, August. I would have to double check on the date. just
Yes, somewhere
because
in the summer.
My email is taking a
June,
little bit of
June, I
time
think.
to, was it June?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
I think it was June.
No, he's agreed to stay in the position until August 31st, 2022. But that would be his cutoff, because that's his wishes. Basically our CAO has noted that the last time we were able to fill the position, with a full-time term position, that's when you're going to get the applicants, right? Because of the position is part-time, it's harder to fill. So it's something that we're taking for consideration into budget to try to maybe go back to that model of having EMO and fire services together so that we could create a full-time position out of it, Claire, so.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, so that's where it sits now, so our EMO is Cecil Frost until at least the end of August 31st. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any further questions? All right, so hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to move us in camera to discuss a matter of personnel.
So moved.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Could I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Great, so we'll take a little recess. So Brent will take just maybe like 5 minutes or so. Okay, you might want to mute or if you're moving around or whatever.